You are listening to the Starter Girls podcast with Amy Lafitte
and Jennifer Loading.
And whether you're starting a business, starting a project, starting a brand, or starting a movement, we are here to talk about it. So I'm so excited for Jennifer to be able to intro our guest and tell us a little bit about our fabulous guest, Melanie.
Absolutely. I'm super excited to introduce Melanie. And Melanie, how did we meet?
We actually met through Janae at New York Life.
Oh, yay, Janae.
Yes. And to our listeners, Janae was actually a previous guest on our show back before the holidays. Do you remember her?
Of course.
Amazing storyteller. She's an amazing storyteller. And yes, she came on and then introduced us afterwards. And so I am super excited to introduce Melanie. She's super awesome. So let me tell you a little bit about her really quick. Melanie Moghaizel is a professional help artist and co-founder of Alwaysgood, a boutique sales training firm. After a decade in corporate sales, managing a portfolio of Fortune 500 companies and generating millions in revenue, she decided to dedicate her life to changing the sales industry. Her mission is to change the sales industry reputation by building an empire of help artists. She is the co-founder of Allwaysgood, co-author of Next Level Sales Playbook, Become Your Own Sales Hero, and a professional help artist. You rock star. I love it. I love it. So welcome, Melanie. We're super excited to have you here.
Yeah, absolutely. So just so our listeners can know a little bit more about you and what you're about, we always do these like rapid fire questions. So are you a morning person or a night person?
Depends on the schedule.
That's good. You're flexible.
Yes.
I like
Yes.
that.
Depends on the projects too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Sometimes it pays to be up early before everybody else. And sometimes it pays to stay up late. Depending
Yes.
on your work schedule, you're both the morning and the night person. If the night goes long enough, it becomes morning.
This is
right.
true. This is true.
It's like hashtag entrepreneur life, right?
Yes.
Yes.
So are you a cat or a dog person?
Okay. Not to answer the same way, but both. I literally have both.
Aww.
So do I.
I started as a cat person, but once you have a dog in your life, you become both.
I know. If only the cats would just run towards the door when you got home, right?
Mine
Maybe.
does.
Mine do.
Oh, okay.
I was talking about that the other day. I'm like, who says cats are not like lovey animals? Mine are like trained. They know kitty
Yeah.
treats. I mean, they do all
Yes.
kinds of funny things.
I
And
have
they're
a
like,
cat dog. He's
Oh,
a cat dog.
I have one of those too.
Uh-huh. Cat dogs are great.
Yeah.
Maybe that
I
means
like-
we are dog people.
Yeah, exactly. I have a lot of cat dogs and I have some dog cats.
Yep. That gets a little weird.
I have
That happened.
I have a cat that actually bullies my 60-pound Catahoula.
Oh, yeah.
It's a funny story.
They know how to do it.
That's living large.
That's why I love cats. Like, they know how to be a boss.
Yes.
That's right. I love
They
it.
totally do.
We could hang out.
Well, you won't be able to say both to this. You'll be happy about that.
Right.
What is your favorite food?
Oh, Tex-Mex, hands down. All of it, any of it, from the greasy stuff your mama says you shouldn't have to the fancy stuff you love to have. All of it. I don't even have a favorite dish. I love everything on a Tex-Mex menu.
It's all good, right?
Yes.
And you can't get Tex-Mex anywhere but like Texas. Like you go to California and they're like, we're going to take you to a Mexican food. And you're like, oh, I don't know. It's
wrong.
Gonna be awful.
Yeah.
It's wrong. You're like, what happened to
Yes.
it?
Right.
You ruined it.
Well, that's probably my favorite food too. So
Yeah.
see, we could be good friends.
Oh,
we
yeah.
both like cats, dogs, Mexican food.
Isn't it the
Souls.
best?
So foundational things.
Yeah.
Basics. Come
It's
on.
like I have to think about that every week. I'm like, we're gonna go out to eat, and it's like, where do you want to go? You know the answer to that.
Yep. I try to throw
yeah.
my husband a bone. I'm like, you want Chinese? Okay, I'll give it to you this time.
But you owe me.
Yep, you'll owe me.
I love it. That's so
That's
awesome.
awesome.
Well, Melanie, I'm really impressed with your resume and just kind of what you've already done. So tell everybody like what makes you unique in what you do.
So, a lot of things actually. So, one thing that always blows people away is that I started a company with my husband. That
Oh, wow.
blows
Yeah.
people away.
Right.
But we practice. So, we both shared a corporate floor together for 7 years. So, we know how to work together really well. And we retired ourselves from corporate America to start our company. And we burned all the boats. That in and of itself I find is very unique, but I didn't know how else to do it. Like I don't understand anything but 100% commitment. So that makes us a bit unique. And you know, we are a sales training company and we don't follow any specific modality. We use our own method, and it's kind of a twofold method where we focus first on mindset, then on strategy. Because I find a lot of books and seminars and conferences about one or the other. They want to pump you up, or they want to just hardcore strategy all day long. And if your mind's not right, the strategies are junk. And if you can have the best strategies, and if your mind's not there, you're not going to know how to use them. And we really believe in not just the right strategies at the right time, but how to avoid burnout. That was a big thing that I saw in corporate America, and I have a passion for preventing that. So good salespeople, they stay in the industry.
That's awesome.
It is. I was going to say, Jennifer's like the mindset queen. And, you know, we have that conversation over and over again about like mindset first before anything else. Because you can strategy people, you can give them the script, you can do whatever. But if what's going on in their brain is still not in the right spot, like forget it. You wasted your time.
Yeah, absolutely. And we want to see it stick, you know, because when that happens, when that magic combo happens, I know, Jennifer, you can relate to this. When it sticks long term. That's where you see the most impactful changes. And I love to do that, especially in a business level, because all of my personal development came from my professional development. And I love to see the two mixed.
It's awesome.
I agree. Well, and you're right. And I was actually, and I'm coaching somebody right now. And this is the very conversation that I just had, because you know, we were going through and talking about, like, I have people come to me and they want to talk about wellness. And I can go in a lot of different ways. We can talk business or we can talk health and wellness. But the common thread is the same with both, that yes, you have to get the mindset right. Because even if I give you a plan and say, here, take this plan, tomorrow the donuts are going to be lurking. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like you're going to be right back to the donuts. And so the idea is I agree with you 100%, is that can we teach them to make these things stick, so that when you're done with them and they walk out that door, they know their next step, and that's a sustainable thing that they can do over and over and over. So I agree with you. And I love that.
Yeah.
She's doing what we essentially did in our network marketing company, which is so awesome, because I love that. I mean, that's how we were trained, you know, but I always say you don't receive until you're ready to receive. So you got to be open to wanting to learn that mindset stuff, because, you know, as I told Amy before, when I was in network marketing, and I shared this with you, 17 years in the business, hearing affirmations, read, you know, and mantras. And I'm like, okay, whatever with this stuff, right? It wasn't until I decided, okay, there's some validity to this.
I can relate
It
to
works.
that. Yeah, I went through that
It
journey.
works. Hopefully you didn't take 17 years to do that. That's what I do hope. You know, I mean, seriously, I tell everybody, take my stuff and you can learn from it. And hopefully you don't have to go that long.
That's the best part, isn't it? That's how we fast track it. It's like, here, take my knowledge. Please don't take as long as I did. Just fast track yourself.
Right.
That's right. That's right. That's so awesome. So I have a question for you. In going into this, because you do work with your husband and you came from corporate, was there like a defining moment that you said, you know, like, I don't want to do this corporate thing anymore, and my husband and I are going to just like do this and power, because I'm impressed with that right there. Like, I'm absolutely impressed with the whole working with the spouse thing.
Oh yeah. I have to credit him to the moment, because I mean, sometimes we're called to it, right? And I think those stories are so intriguing to me, because I think the calling was there in the distance for a long time, and I wasn't really willing to look through the fog, because it was just like, oh no, that's too scary.
Yeah.
Like the idea that there's a world beyond this only world I've ever known. I thought, no way. No, that's all fantasy. That's for someone else. I didn't want to listen to it. And he goes, you know, you should just quit.
I like it.
And it just right through the fog, boom. It was like, oh my God. And my body reacted. It was like full body, oh my gosh. This is meant for me. This is my moment. It's, you know, I was like waiting for someone to save me.
You're looking for the green. You were looking for the green light, right?
Yeah, like you know, like
exactly.
I'll know when I know. And I used to hate when people said that. 'Cause I'm like, how do you know when you know?
Yeah.
Because your body will just full on react. And I thought, wow, I'm the person who has to step up. Like, it's, you know, I'm waiting around for someone else to show me or tell me. Nope. Like, the step was always beside me. I just had to be ready to move.
Wow.
Yeah.
I like that. And something I want to add to that really quick is that for your husband to do that, that's like impressive, because when we were in our other company, we were working with women a lot, and that didn't happen a lot, where we would get that, right? Oh, you started a new company? Go for it. You know what I mean? And we always talk about, you know, like with women, and I may have said this in another show, that when a woman has, you know, her spouse behind her backing her up, she can do amazing things. If she doesn't, it's unless she's got a really strong personality like I do, that mindset, she's going to battle that, and she's going to give in every time. So the fact that he said that to you, I think that's just like incredible. You had to jump on that. Like, hello.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Oh yeah,
He's
for
like,
sure.
go for it. You're like, okay, I'm ready. Let's go. Dive in.
Oh, I was not at first.
No.
I just was frozen. He said, "What do you think?" I was like, "I think I'm gonna puke."
But that's good.
But nothing had made me feel that way before.
Yeah.
Not a single moment had I felt that way
Right.
before. And I thought, oh, I got to pay attention to this.
Yeah. It's the gut instinct. And you had the fear, so you know that it's real.
That's how you know, right? Like when
Right.
you're terrified, you're like, oh, I have to do this.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Well, and
Right.
I'd love to know like the other end of that, because you said you and your husband both quit. So he says to you, go do it, baby, go do it. But then like, how does it turn around where he's like, go do it, man, go do I mean, like, did you say it to him, or like, how did this even like unfold?
We lasted a whole week of me fumbling around by myself, trying to make plans, trying to figure out. The hardest day was when I tried to figure out our video editing system.
Uh-oh. Been there.
And I took 3 hours reading instructions, and I could do like 3 things. I thought,
Oh.
wow, I don't want to do this.
Yeah,
So I was like,
funny.
is this really what starting a business is like?
It's like the weird hang up stuff, right? It's not the big picture. It's like, how do I edit? I know I've had that conversation with so many entrepreneurs.
It was, yeah. And that's why if I meet people who edit, I'm like, God bless you. You're amazing.
Right. Well, that's also good where kids come into play. Having
Free
kids.
labor.
Yeah, free labor. And they kind of know how to navigate that a
They
little bit. It's
do.
good.
Yeah, they do.
It's
Yeah.
good.
Interns. I'm a big believer in those people too.
Yeah.
He lasted a whole week, saw me struggling. I missed him every day. And I, didn't feel like I was doing a great job at all. And he just didn't feel like it weighed on him because we are committed people.
Mhm.
And he thought, what am I doing? I've sent my wife off to do this by herself, and it's our company.
Mm.
Wow.
And he lasted a whole week, and finally just that same moment hit him. He had that full body, yep, gotta do it. And of course, I had a whole new wave of fear wash over me. I thought, that means we really have to do this.
Right.
But I think it's just, we were living very much a supposed to life, both of us. We did all the things you're supposed to do. You go to college and you meet a nice person and you get a good job, and for God's sakes, commit to your 401k. Did that, right?
Right.
All the things.
Yeah.
And
Uh-huh.
you do that, and you're marching through this life, and you're like, now what?
Right.
You do that for,
Right.
5, 10, 15 years, and you're like, what else? What happens? Like, am I really just waiting for my next vacation? That doesn't seem fulfilling.
Yeah. What was the crowd response? Because you had been I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do. And
Yeah.
all of a sudden you guys kind of do like a whole 180 and kind of throw everybody off. So like, what did that even look like for you?
Very mixed, very mixed. And it was interesting. I started it, and it was full scale reactions, like a full ripple effect throughout our entire lives. And,
Wow.
and even, especially our financial advisor was like, what? And our parents and our long-term friends and even our short-term friends and our coworkers, it was always mixed. But thankfully, because there were so many strong reactions, some were really proud of us. Some were like, oh, you've lost your ever living mind.
Right.
But, some were super supportive at first and then dropped off. But thankfully, I had a really strong friend in my corner who'd been an entrepreneur. And she was the one who said, look, you've made a big change. You've proven, hey, I'm on this level now. This is where I live. And she said, people are going to join you. People are going to want to join you and can't. Some are going to be like, nope, not for me. And she said, that's all their right. And you got to respect that and just let it unfold. And I'm so glad she said that, because it allowed me the patience and kindness of just giving people their space and just watching it happen, whether they pulled to me or drifted off. I thought, you know what? It's a journey. My mom always said that people are there for a reason, a season, and a lifetime, and you never get to know which one it is.
Mm-hmm.
And so I repeated that mantra for many months and thought, you know what? This is a decision I believe in. And those who join me, they're the ones who belong with me. And those who don't, they don't.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So great.
I love it. And it's so true.
Yes, it is.
That is very
and I'm
true.
so grateful, because that means the ones that are there, I cherish them completely. And the ones that aren't, I figure, well, they'll either come back around in their season or they won't.
Yeah.
You just cherish the ones you got.
It's
Makes
such a
you-
good way to look at it.
It makes you grateful.
I love that. So I have kind of a funny question for you, because I always talk about this. So you probably, I don't know that you ever had a time, like maybe when you were a child, you thought, hey, it would be pretty cool to have my own business. I mean, because I think sometimes, like for me, that I grew up with entrepreneurs. Everybody in my family was pretty much at some point an entrepreneur. I still have that kind of going on in the circle there, but I just kind of was thrown in that from early on. And so I always knew, I shouldn't say I knew. but I always was creating things. Like I was always coming up with things, and I still do that now. I'm always onto something. I'm like, who's got something else I need to be like onto or involved or creating or whatever? I'm like, call me up. We're going to think about it. So did you ever feel like as a child, were you creative like this and thought that you would do something like this at some point? Okay.
Oh, yes. All the time.
Yeah.
And I'm with you. Like, that's my happy place when I
Okay.
can just be in it and creating something from nothing, which is, I mean, the principle of life, isn't it? We manifest
Absolutely.
whatever we want.
Right.
And I had such a beautiful childhood. I grew up in a small town just west of here, and it was perfect. I had nothing but outdoor time and creative space. And, both my parents, they're not entrepreneurs at all. So I think I still did all the lemonade stands. I loved fundraising because I was friends with everyone. So it was so
awesome. I
easy.
can so see that. She's like, cookies, chocolate.
Oh yeah. Oh, I already knew what people liked. I already knew what to pitch to them out of my pamphlet. So I was ready.
That's hysterical. I love that.
Well, and I'm laughing right now because my son came home the other day with a bag of these big suckers, like big. Okay, this is my youngest now. It's a true story. When he was like 3, we were at farmer's market. My in-laws were in town, and he asked my mother-in-law, he's like, Grandma Candy, do you want pink flowers or red flowers? And I was like, wow, that kid's got it. Like, he's 3 years old, he knows. So he comes home with these bag of suckers the other day, and I'm like, he's like, you want a sucker? I'm like, how much are they? Because I don't eat sugar. I'm like, how much are you selling those for? I said, they're $1.50. He said 50 cents. I'm on my 3rd bag.
Wow.
And I'm like, wow. That's pretty good because my other 2 are like selling. No, my little one is like, he's all over
He's
it.
the one.
He's been negotiating from the time he was born, I think. He's been trying, he's still, like, I always joke about, like, when he wants something like a computer, he always starts high and works down.
Oh,
He's
genius.
clever. Like, he'll send me these messages and be like, this is what I want. And I'm like, I'm not buying that. So then he comes down and eventually he gets right in that middle ground. It's pretty funny. I'm like, you got a computer, you got a nice one because he started high and worked me down.
I tried to negotiate my seat at lunch today. I mean, I wanted outdoors.
That's good. You probably got to get along with my son well. I tell him he's a great negotiator. I know who the entrepreneur is going to be out of my 3. That's awesome. That's awesome. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess another thing we would love to know is like, what's the hardest thing you had to overcome?
Oh, self-doubt. I mean, you touched on it a little bit, that like fear that washes over you. I had to really learn how to read it because for the longest time, I think we make the mistake of thinking our emotions are true. And like, if you're afraid of something, it must mean it's scary. If you're doubting, it must mean because you're fraudulent or it's true, right? The doubt is legit. But that's rarely the case. Usually they're little signals, like if I'm getting anxious about something, usually it means I need more time with it. I need more time with that project. And with the self-doubt, it was a lot of really, I believe everyone should have a spin as being an entrepreneur because that will truly, it holds up a mirror like no other experience. And it's beautiful because you get a chance to really look at what serves you, what doesn't. And utilizing it. And I mean, so even doubt, all emotions have energy. They all have some type of momentum. And even doubt can really be used to fuel you to get a little bit better. Like maybe you feel doubtful because you think, I need more expertise here.
Right.
So you pick up a book, you find an expert, you ask questions, you get curious about it instead of just being like, oh my God, I'm a fraud. I should just go lay in bed for another week.
Right.
It's so powerful. And I never looked at it that way. But boy, when it comes at you hard and fast, and it's the thing between you and the thing you want, you better learn to work with it.
I love it.
Yeah.
So I got a good question for you. So when you are in the zone, this is like in the zone, going after something, like going after the project. What does that look like for you? What's the headspace? I mean, we've touched upon a lot of that here, but what does that headspace, what does that process look like for you? Are you task-oriented, scheduler? Like, what does all this look like?
Yeah, I saw your list, which was
I'm a list taker.
powerful.
I'm very, on the guy that's coming on here in a bit, we're going to be talking about the test that we talked about last week. I'm very high on the task-oriented part.
She is.
I'm
She's the
active
queen.
brain and task-oriented. So I go after things and I get them done.
Well, you use your talents, right? Absolutely.
Yep.
I mean, just like what we teach our clients, I have to be in the right headspace. So when I know it's time to get down and get organized, I get myself rested. I get myself hydrated. I love to play good music and move around a little bit. And I love to be active while I write. So I have whiteboards all over my office. And I love to stand barefoot if I can, feel the energy in my house.
Cool.
And use it. And you have to begin with the end in mind. You know,
Yes.
the best time to build a house is when you've already built it in your mind. That's what a
Right.
blueprint is for.
Right.
Mhm.
So I always begin with that in mind. And I like to, like Brene Brown says, paint it done. So I'd like to idealize what's my end goal? What do I want to achieve? I love to be as specific as possible and really paint all the emotions around it. Be specific about the task, the number, the result, and then how do I want to feel about it? How do I want my partners to feel about it? And then reverse engineer it.
Mhm.
So I work all the way backwards. What are the milestones between here and now? Especially a long-term one, like if you
Yeah.
planned out something that's maybe a year out, like a big event,
Right.
then you've got to have your milestones. And I love to work all the way backwards from what's going to happen this month, this week, and what do I do today? And then you've got chunks. You know, I think chunking your time is pretty powerful. But for me, having milestones, like I use the quadrants, Covey's
Mhm.
quadrants, you know, the Eisenhower
Yeah.
matrix, because for me, when I do list, I'm not gonna lie, I go for the easy thing on the list.
Oh, do you?
And then the hard
Ah.
stuff, I just stare at it
Yeah.
for a long time and avoid it while it stares
Yeah.
at me from the paper all week long.
Gotcha.
But the matrix allows me some flexibility so I know what's important and urgent and I can move things around. And I love things to be fluid because they are anyway.
right.
So I
right.
like to just use the momentum of the project. And as it pivots, I can pivot because I don't have everything stacked on my schedule. I don't have to have, I just know here's my milestone. And I give myself the space and the grace to find a way there.
Yeah.
I think that's great.
Mhm.
I will tell you, my justification on my list is just to get the paper done. Like every day, that is my list. I have a blue highlighter. I'm actually going to get a new highlighter because my blue one's dying. I love highlighters. If anybody wants to get me presents, highlighters.
Noted.
All colors. And so that's what I do. So for me, and it's funny too, because if you've seen my list, I'm not going to
Oh,
show everybody
yeah.
on here. It's random. It's like almost like a bullet journal. I just write all
Yeah.
over, but I leave little spaces so I can make notes around it. So that if it's a situation where I'm actually calling somebody
Mm-hmm.
and I need to do more to the task that's on the list, I can write next to it, carry it over.
Yeah.
But my objective is always the same. And I love yours. I love the way that what you're talking about, because that is something we used to train on with people, because when we would almost have to say, do like a personal list and a business list, because they
Yes.
would go for the personal, which is not a non-income producing activity.
Yes.
And then they're like, okay, I didn't get anything done today because I was busy doing laundry.
Sure, exactly.
Okay, well, you got to do laundry, but that needs to come after you do the work, right?
Yeah.
We need to get the work done, or they be counting like inventory in our case. And we're like, okay, inventory you can
Or
delegate.
dusting the inventory. Yeah,
I gotta clean my inventory.
exactly.
So I get that.
funny.
I can totally understand
Yeah.
the perception idea on that. How
Well,
that
your
works
list
out for you.
works, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so you use what works. And
I
I've played
agree.
around.
Of
I
course.
love
Agree.
being open to any new goal setting ideas. I love hearing people's methodologies because you never know. Sometimes the task is just a little bit outside my wheelhouse and I need a new tool. So I love
Sure.
to just
Yeah.
stockpile the toolbox.
Mhm.
I like
I
that.
think that's awesome. Well, and I think just for our listeners that don't know about the quadrants, will you talk about that? Because I think that's something that's very, very helpful when you are trying to figure out like what to do.
Absolutely. So the quadrants, and we warn people because it can easily become a list and you can
Right.
focus on the wrong things. And this is why I like it so much, because the quadrants have 4 quadrants, of course. You have your urgent and your important.
Mhm.
You're not as urgent, but important. You're not urgent. Wait, yeah. You're urgent, but not important.
Yes.
Flip flop it.
Uh-huh.
And then you're not urgent, not important.
Mm-hmm.
So it allows you to prioritize. Basically, it's a big priorities grid.
Yeah.
And it allows you to focus on, obviously your urgent and important are the hottest things. So for a salesperson, it's that lead that's ready to close. It's all your
Mhm.
hot leads, or it's the project for your boss. It's all the things that are money generating, deadline oriented. They're super, super important.
Right.
And then the not as urgent, but also important are those things that maybe have a deadline or don't have a deadline, but also revenue generating. Something you've promised a client, but maybe it's next week.
Mm-hmm.
Things like that. And of course, my least favorite quadrant actually is the not important, but it's urgent. It's I don't have any more underwear to wear.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
It's,
Yes.
That's kind of important.
it's always those unsexy things that creep
Right.
up on you because you've
Yeah.
ignored them.
That's a great way to put it. I like that. The unsexy thing.
Yeah.
It is,
Or
right?
what I've called, lovingly called admin tasks, where it's like one of
Yeah.
those, it's a
Right.
client who is revenue generating, but they've asked you to do a non-revenue generating thing.
Sure.
It's important to the relationship, but
Yeah.
but ultimately it's just urgent. It's kind of admin. It's not revenue generating. And my personal favorite is the not urgent and not important, because that's a quadrant you don't touch.
That's right. That's right.
There you go.
You're like, we don't have to do anything with that.
That's good.
And it's interesting to watch people, like when you say, what's the priority? Because I think that really helps people learn to delegate. And that is so important for leadership. All of my leadership coaching focuses on that, because I always remind them that, we never get to our positions by ourselves. And it's important to utilize the talent around us, because people love to help. They love to be a part of something. Even if you think it's not urgent and not important, it's important because you're important to them.
That's awesome.
So it gives you a chance to work with your team, and that becomes a really special moment. Or you just get the joy of maybe giving someone a job or a paycheck. For me, that box includes mowing my lawn.
Yeah.
A man named Jorge does that.
Right.
And I love it. He does a way better job than I could ever do. And I pride myself on a good lawn. I always thought I was such a good mower. I got nothing on Jorge. But now that's a special relationship. Like he takes care of my home, and that means a lot to me. And he puts a lot of love into it. So what I thought was like this obnoxious task in the summer became a relationship. I think it's important for people to remember, if you can put those priorities down on that lower quadrant, you open yourself up to a good relationship.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And making a difference in your community, which I always think is cool.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Oh, yeah. We need each other. I mean, I have outsourced so many things because I learned really fast, because we burned the boats, that I'm great at what I'm great at. And the things I'm not, I get a chance to find an expert.
Good advice. Delegate.
Oh, yeah.
Delegate.
Leverage.
Yes,
That's my favorite
right.
word.
Yes,
Leverage.
leverage.
That's a good word
It's
too.
a good one.
That's a good word too. Absolutely. All right. So you have a big event coming up. Am I correct? You want to talk about that a little bit?
Oh, yes, I do. So our event is the Next Level Summit. It's being held Thursday and Friday, March 19th and 20th at the Lincoln Experience Center and the Star.
Awesome.
If you haven't been there, it's a beautiful venue. It's a beautiful area. And it's a beautiful space. So this is a 2-day live full immersion event. So it's very interactive, and we'll be introducing our methodologies to people. It'll be day one is all about mindset, getting people priming their own pumps, giving them those routines that help them in their day-to-day so that they're ready for the strategies that we're going to toss at them day 2. And it's going to be full of working professionals and leadership here in the area. So it's a beautiful networking event. And you are going to get to know your fellow mates.
So awesome.
You will.
I love it. That's so
I
fun.
love that.
Very
Yeah.
cool. I know. Did we want to ask a few more questions?
Well,
or we want to? I was thinking we needed to wrap it up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're running. We could be here forever. We're
I
running out
know
of time.
exactly.
So how do our listeners find you, Melanie? What's the best way to get you?
So you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram, Alwaysgood, 2 L's, spelled as one word, Alwaysgood. And you can find me, Mrs. Alwaysgood, 2 L's, all
like
one
it.
word, on LinkedIn or Facebook. And of course, our website, Alwaysgood, 2 L's, all one word.
I like the Mrs. Always
do
Good.
too.
That's the best. You're like, I'm Mrs. Always Good.
Oh, yeah. that is-
Don't be bad. You gotta live up to that title for real.
I do every day.
That's
I live
right.
it. I breathe it.
And that is so funny. Mrs. Always Good. All right. Is there
Great.
anything you want to add to this before we start?
I think we want to talk about our own event.
We do.
So,
We have an event
yeah.
coming up on April 4th. Super excited about it. Yes. And it is called Dreams Are Magical. You can find it on our Facebook page at the Starter Girls page. It is in the events section. So get in there. You can check out the details on it. We do have an Eventbrite set up thanks to my little friend and partner back there, Alini, who is on set with us today watching. She's kind of I tell people she's our behind the scenes helper, and I love her because she's an amazing person. I can call her up and say, hey, I need help with this. So super excited about the event that's coming up. And we do also want to say to our listeners, if you enjoy our podcast, please be sure to give us a rating both on iTunes and Facebook, because we can't do this without you.
Mm-hmm.
And and anything you want to add to Melanie? Thank you, Melanie. You are awesome.
Melanie. Yeah,
Thank
thank you
you.
so much for your time. So interesting to hear a husband and wife go out and burn all their ships and just go make it successful in the entrepreneur world. That's very, very inspirational to our listeners. And I know for me too.
That was
Thank
good.
you.
I like that. The ship thing. That was good. She always says really good stuff. I always tease
We're
her.
lucky.
I always
Yeah,
tease her
good
because I'm the
team.
one. I'm the dry one that just. I'm very passionate about what I say, but I'm very dry, and she's the poetic one.
Gotta have a good partner,
That's
right?
right.
I know.
That's right. That's
we
right.
get the best.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I think it is time to wrap up with our mantra. It is a great day to be brave. You might as well start now. You have the power to change your circumstances any day you decide. Let today be that day. Rise up, be amazing, be you, do you. All right, you guys take care, be safe, and be kind to one another. And thank you, Melanie, for being our guest.
Thank you.
All right, we'll see you guys next time.
Bye-bye.